Hi, my name's Jen. Welcome to my channel, All on My Plants. Today's video we are not doing. We are showing and talking. My content is very doing heavy generally, but I'm looking at plants that I kind of never talk about. I see them all the time, but I rarely show them. I rarely say anything about them. Generally, if I do, it's just in passing. And I don't do favorites that often, like favorites videos. I still will occasionally. But yeah, I figured we'd look at some of those plants that I just never seem to show on my channel. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, some of them, it's because they're not good. They're just not good. And others, it's because I don't have to think about them. I'm never doing anything with them because they're fine. They just keep on keeping on. So yeah, let's get into that. We'll start with some of the rhipsalis. This is rhipsalis pentaptera. And there's nothing wrong with this plant. It's great. I think it's awesome. I love it. How long have I had it? Maybe a year. This is probably one of the slower rhipsalis. It doesn't grow very fast. It has grown some. These little doodads here on this end, they're new. And they just appeared recently. I don't think it's because there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just a slower rhipsalis. I love rhipsalis. I love this rhipsalis in particular. It's just very thick, very chunky. It has a kind of interesting stem. Are these leaves or stems? I can't remember. But yeah, it's interesting, and I do like it quite a bit. It's just slow, and so it just kind of, it sits there. I don't really have to think about it except for when I water it, maybe every week and a half, 2 weeks. I let it dry fairly well, this one. In particular because of the very thick, chunky stems. I think that it holds more water than maybe some of my other rhipsalis do. So yeah, that's the first one. And I do love it. It's been an easy plant. I haven't had any pest issues. It just chills. It doesn't need anything from me, so I'm not often thinking about it until I'm watering it or checking it for pests. So. And then another rhipsalis that, once again, I never really seem to talk about is this one here. It's Rhipsalis agadoensis. And this one does grow quite a bit. I don't know how long I've had this one, maybe a year. And it started out as just a little, all of my rhipsalis were just a little bit in the pot. And as time has gone on, I've broken it and stuck pieces in. It's branched off. It's an enthusiastic one. I like rhipsalis a lot. Can't help myself because they don't want much from me. They really don't. For watering, I guess I water them kind of like my hoya. I let them dry down a bit. This one here I actually water a little bit more than the pentaptera, the previous one I just showed you. And that's because it's constantly growing. If it's a slower grower, I water it less. If it's a faster grower, I seem to water it a little bit more. You'll never see roots in your rhipsalis. Not never, but they're finer. They're harder to spot. But I love it. It's an easy one. Doesn't want much from me. I don't think I've ever had any pest pressure on these plants. Like I would think scale, mealybugs, something. But no, not really. I did get a rhipsalis, I think in the fall, cereoides, and it came with mealybugs. So I would say keep an eye out for those. But otherwise, I don't think I've ever had any pesty issues. Now on similar plants, I've had scale and aphids, but not rhipsalis specifically. So I don't know. Maybe that was just a fluke. But yeah. It's a great plant. It's a great plant. It's a heavy plant, I'll tell you that. I would also suggest that you put your rhipsalis in heavy plants or heavy planters or hanging pots, because as the soil was drying, it's in a plastic nursery pot. As the soil was drying, it would fall over because the top of the plant is so very heavy. And that's with, I think, just about every rhipsalis I have will do that if it's not hanging or in a heavy cover pot. But I love them. I love them. I could show you all of my rhipsalis because I hardly ever talk about them, just because, like I said, I don't have to do with them very often. They don't frequently need repots or anything. So I'll show you one more because I'm thinking of it. and that's Rhipsalis platycarpa, which is another one that I really like. I've had this one a fairly long time, actually, over a year, and it hasn't grown that much for me. The issue I was having with this one was these crispy tips that we may or may not focus on today. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there's none there to see. There we go, crispy brown tips. And I moved it to no drainage. There's a leca layer at the bottom, and it's just some moss to keep the soil from slipping down into the leca, and then soil. And I can see some small roots here and there in this. Let me see if I can get it around here. Right there. Maybe you can see it through the McDonald's cup. There it is. Yeah, it's McDonald's cup, because that's what I had. That has actually helped a lot. This one here, it's not necessarily that it's that thirsty, but it doesn't like to dry as much as some of the other rhipsalis I have. So I figured that out, and then I was still having a problem keeping enough moisture in there for it to stop being crispy. I think I've got it now. You can see the new growth there, not being crispy. If I bring it closer to my face, maybe it'll focus. So hopefully I've got this one figured out. It has put on a fair amount of new growth since being potted like that. So hopefully that continues. I don't intend to leave it in the McDonald's cup forever. I will actually find something at some point that's a little bit more classy. So, but yeah, so that's the last rhipsalis, I think. I just love them. I could show you all of them. Just talk about rhipsalis all day and how wonderful they are. Okay, so there's a few fair hoya that are coming at you, because I don't talk about the ones that are fine. I talk about the ones that I'm constantly having problems with. This isn't really one of them. I mean, it's got new growth. It's fine. This is Hoya. I think it was Pusilla, then they were calling it Nabawinensis, and now they've gone back to Pusilla, which sounds gross to me for some reason. But this one has had root mealies, definitely. Oh, it's still got some. I don't know if you'll be able to spot them. Let me put this down somewhere. It's one of the ones that I've got to kind of constantly seem to treat for it. I don't know if you'll be able to see. They're just like little white oddballs in there that are not anything to do with soil amendments. They're more stuck right to the side of the pot. But I've treated it with systemic. They seem to improve, and then they seem to come back, and then they seem to improve. It's hard to completely eradicate them without getting rid of the roots. And even some of the plants the Hoyas that I've done that on, started rerooting all over, have still ended up somehow with root mealies. So just treat. That's been my method. And it's working okay, I guess. Like I said, this has new growth. It's not declining in any way. It's just a tough little Hoya. And if I had to explain to you how tough it is, there are a couple cuttings of this that sit in the hallway, my upstairs hallway, with very little light. I forget to water them sometimes for months. They're in leca. That leca gets bone dry. They're still alive. They're still growing even. And they've had root mealies for months and months and months, and I have not treated it at all. I should, but fully aware. I'm just saying, as far as Hoyas go, this one is very tough, resilient. Most Hoyas, I think, are. Not all of them. I have some that are just not. But, like, it's so pretty. I've had it trellised. It doesn't seem to make much difference. It just grows like crazy no matter how you're growing it. Does well in semi-hydro, obviously. Even if you're not always on top of it. It's just, I'm seldom doing with it. I was a couple years ago because I was trying to get rid of, I believe it was root mealies then too. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it's just a good plant. Good little Hoya. It has to live by itself on the floor because we don't want its root mealies to crawl into anyone else, but it's okay. Another Hoya, this is Hoya pachyclada. And I've had it for 7 years. 7 years. I've cut it many times. It's got new growth right now. It doesn't do too much for me in the spring. This plant has been through something. In the greenhouse, some sort of bug ate so many of the leaves off of it, like the older leaves, not the newer ones. That was last year. Did I put it? Yeah, last year. It also constantly has like a colony of spiders building webs down in the, like at the base of the plant, up under the leaves and stuff, so I have to like get a chopstick to scoop them out of there. It had spider mites. I don't know if you can see all the damage on that leaf. I don't think it ever had flat mites. I have looked at it. I have treated it anyway. I did the sulfur for, I don't know, a couple months probably. A few months. This has flowered. It's got some peduncles here and there. I don't know if you can see there's one. There's another new one developing up there. Can't remember what the flowers look like. If I have a picture, I'll put it in. I've chopped a lot of it, like what looked the worst, off. You can see it's been cut multiple times in multiple places. I need to repot it. I don't think it's been repotted in 6 years. Get in there and get anything that's dead out. You know, the pot dries very, very quickly. This is broken, but somehow still alive. It's broken right there. But somehow still alive. I should put that in something to propagate. But yeah, it's been a tough plant. And I really do like it. It's kind of, I want to say fuzzy, but not really. I'm not sure if that's actually pubescent or not. But I like the texture of it. I like the way it feels. It's very pretty. Very pretty. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I wandered off for a minute to talk to my husband. He has a gallbladder thing happening. It's going. Not quite gone yet. But we were meal planning. Anyway. The next plant, still Hoya. I'm still on Hoya. Hoya Fusco marginata. And I love this plant. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I just never talk about it or show it because it just maintains. It's not the fastest grower. It grows, but usually only in the summer for me. I put it out in the heat and the sun in the greenhouse, and it likes that. It has flowered before. Can't remember what the flower looked like. If I have a picture, I'll put it in. But yeah, it just chills. It just chills. It's a good plant. It's tough. It doesn't need anything from me. Even though it doesn't grow, I still water it fairly frequently, maybe about once a week on this one. I just want to keep those leaves nice and turgid. But yeah, it is a pretty plant. It's a very nice plant. Just not a speed demon with growth. Quite a bit in the summer. Like I said, when I put it out in the greenhouse, it'll take right off and it'll bloom. It'll be very pretty then. But the rest of the time, it just kind of maintains itself. It doesn't need anything from me. I've never had any real pesty issues with this one, but it's, you know, it's prone to the same pests that pretty much any Hoya is, so it's a good one though. Then this one is Hoya pentiflebia, which it does have some issues, but I mean, it's alright. It's filled out its trellis quite a bit. But we keep getting, maybe it's fungal? Don't know. Some spots like that on some leaves. But overall, it doesn't really seem to be bothering most of the plant. Some of the plant is not great. I just really like this one though. I do. I have been spraying it here lately. But for the most part, it exists. It exists in time and space. I like it. It's once again, this is another one that's kind of slower growing in the winter. I think it's only put out maybe 2 or 3 leaves since fall. But they are pretty. They are pretty. And it does sun stress a bit. It's just a nice plant. It's very well behaved for the most part. Don't have too many problems with it. I mean, it has had its issues. It's been treated for flat mites. I can't remember for sure whether or not it did have them, but I just treated every single Hoya within a 5-mile radius with sulfur. This one actually still has some sulfur on it. I don't know if you can see up in there. the dusty powdery whiteness of the sulfur. But yeah, it's on a little teeny trellis in here. I had planned to take it off of the trellis, but I'm just not sure. Just not sure. Like, do I take it off of this little teeny trellis and replace it with a bigger one? Do I chop it up and propagate the whole thing? I think that's why I don't talk about this one, because I don't know, I don't have a plan for it at this point in time. It's very sloppily on this trellis at this point, because it was just kind of, in the summer it just grows off wherever it wants to go. And then I wrangle it in the winter, or the fall, and try to stick it back on here somehow. It's connected to itself, rather than the trellis at some points. So, I don't know. I don't know, but it's a good plant. I do love it. I like the sun stressing. For some reason, I look at this plant and I think poison apple. And that makes me happy. So, it's a good one. I have, at some points in the history of my channel, talked about this plant pretty frequently. It's Hoya Matilde Splash. And it's a root mealy survivor. It was actually, of the plants that were ground zero for the root mealies, this one has done better than any of the rest of them, by far. And I don't know if it's because I have hovered over this plant in the past so much. I hardly talk about it now because I haven't had any problems with it. It just sits and looks fantastic. It doesn't really flower, but it grows pretty constantly. Pretty constantly has new growth. It does well. It's maintaining quite well. I don't know. Some of it's splashy and some of it's kind of reverted. I guess you can see right in here. There's some that's just plain green. Or very, very low splash on it anyway. Don't care. Don't care. Love it. Love the splashy. Love the plain green. It's just a good plant. And like I said, I don't talk about this one because it is doing fine. And I don't need to hover over it anymore. So, but ooh, I love it. It's definitely one of my favorite Hoyas. Definitely. If you'd asked me a year or two ago, I wouldn't have said that because it was just little teeny cuttings that were not well. Hoya, I guess it's DS70, Bertonier, Af, bilobata. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember what I bought it as. But it's one of those three, and they're all very similar. So this one here, I think I talked about it a little bit for a while because I was trying to get it back on track. Sorry, there's a wasp in my house. Probably came out of the attic. So yeah, I was constantly fighting with it there for a while, trying to just make it happier. I had taken many cuttings from it. I have repotted it. I've had this for a long time. Not that you can tell. At some point it just got sad and it kind of stopped growing for a while. But lately I've treated it. I've actually washed most of the sulfur off. You can still see some remnants here and there, where it's just a little dusty looking. But I repotted it and it started growing again. The variegation is looking better because it was a fully variegated plant at one point in time. But yeah, so I think I'm back on track with this one, and I guess that's why I haven't mentioned it lately. It's because I'm not really doing anything with it lately. It's just happy and growing. So I've left it be to do what it do. But yeah, I still love it. I still love it. Still pretty high up there on my list of favorite Hoyas. It's just, when it's doing well, it's doing well. It's very easy to take care of. So, and that's always, that always scores high. Any plant that's easy to take care of scores high on my list of plants. The next one is this little red Maranta, which, I mean, it looks okay. And I've struggled with this one. I bought it knowing that it was unwell. I think I got it on the half-dead rack at Lowe's. I say half-dead rack, I mean the clearance section. And there wasn't anything glaringly wrong with it at the time. It was in a small pot, so I potted it. It was very sparse. There's a new little baby one coming in here. That's ridiculous looking. It's flowering. If that's not happy and it's dying, don't tell me. I've had it for a few months now. Several months, honestly. Yeah. And it is giving me bigger growth now, which it was very small growth. So I'm getting bigger growth, healthier looking growth. Not going to say that it looks great. I mean, it's pretty gnarly looking up under there, up under the leaves from the back. But it's growing, it's fine. And I don't talk about it because, I mean, it's not great. This is not great. This is an improvement, but it's not perfection. I should probably propagate it at this point. And I think that is going to happen in the future, just to get it more compact again, filled out. You know, that's kind of the plan, to actually finish the rehabbing on this plant, is to get it full and have all of the growth look a little bit more consistently well. I definitely do have problems with Maranta. They do get flat mites. That's annoying. You can treat them the same way, flat mites on Maranta, the same way that you would on Hoya, you know, with the sulfur, and that's effective, but I will tell you, these leaves really hate it. Sometimes the treatment is worse than the issue. So instead of treating them with sulfur now for flat mites, I will spray them over and over and over with a mixture of alcohol and neem oil, with a little bit of water and some dish soap thrown in. And it does require multiple treatments, like every 3 days. Basically, if I'm watering it, I'm spraying it. And that seems to work fairly well. Much better, much more agreeable to the plant than sulfur on these anyway. And maybe that's just the strength at which I was using the sulfur. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else has had that experience. But, yeah. Other than that, spider mites. Spider mites. I guess they can also get thrips and mealybugs too, maybe probably even root mealies, but that's just not something I've ever really dealt with on them. But it's definitely prone to spider mites. Anthurium. I do talk about Anthurium often, I just don't talk about these particularly often. And if I do, it's in passing, like, oh, I need to get rid of some of these Anthurium radicans luxurians crosses that I have, because I think I've got 5. I know I have 4 anyway. And they're lovely, don't get me wrong, but how many do you really need of the same plant? As far as I know, they're sterile, so it's not something you'd hang on to be able to cross them later. But they are magical. They are magical. I do love them quite a bit. I think this is the newest leaf on this one. It's pretty well hardened off. It's a bit smaller than the previous growth, because I find it to be slower growing in the depths of winter for me. I think it was a one-leaf wonder, this particular one. And I just have it in a nursery pot plunked down inside of this. But yeah, it is a nice plant. It is. I sound like I hate them when I'm like, well, I need to get rid of that. That's not the case. That is not the case. Even the back, that pink vein, I don't know if it's coming off pink, but it's very pretty. Very pretty. In the summer, they do grow a little bit faster for me, like spring through fall. And they do flower quite readily, or put out an inflorescence quite regularly. But like I said, as far as I know, you can't do anything with it. So, not that I'd really want to, but I mean, I'm just saying that for information purposes. But it is pretty. It is pretty. Very easy care. I do let them, unfortunately, go dry, quite dry, compared to my other anthuriums, which I'm racing to water if they even look like they might be slightly not soggy. Not really, I don't keep them soggy. Not all of them. A couple of them like to be soggy. But, yeah. Not much to say about it, because I don't really do anything with them. I separated them out probably a year ago now. They can be kind of prone to spider mites. So I just kind of check them out while I'm watering them, when I finally get around to watering them. This one here, it's maybe been 2 weeks since I watered it. And it's still holding itself upright fairly well, considering. I mean, it could be more upright, is what I'm saying. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little thirsty. But it's not a needy plant. This is one of few anthurium that I think does really hold on to its leaves, even through dehydration, through a little bit of a dry spell. It doesn't suffer that much compared to a lot of other anthuriums. So yeah, I hardly ever talk about it, but I do love it. my cactus and succulents in general, I hardly ever talk about. I don't think I have any true cactus left in my collection currently. This is Hoya zebrina, and I believe the variety is owl eyes. It's kind of variegated. The new growth shows it a lot more than older growth. There we go. It's fine. It's okay. I just don't think I've 100% nailed down what this plant wants for me. I think I've had it for maybe coming up on 2 years. Not sure. And I mean, it's grown. It was only this one main bit with maybe one little arm kind of sticking off. So it's grown. But it always looks dehydrated. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks kind of dehydrated. Just, is that the way this plant looks? I don't know. I watered it thoroughly. I mean, I left it sitting in water. Maybe that's why it's not happy. I don't know. I'm just not sure that I'm making this plant happy. I'll put it that way. And I don't really talk about it because I don't know what to do to make it better. I don't know what it wants from me. And I don't know that it's not happy. So it just kind of chills. I think it's maybe been shown in a plant tour, or maybe even a greenhouse tour, because I do put it outside in the greenhouse. Is that better or worse for this plant? Couldn't tell you. Slow growing. Slow but steady, I guess. I mean, it's kind of always putting off new little arms, but they'll take forever. They take forever. They really do. I don't know. I'm trying to give it higher light currently. This winter, I've had it kind of up on top of that shelf with some fancy lights right above it. So, I don't know. If you think you know what's wrong with my plant, feel free to tell me. I have not checked the roots or anything since I've repotted it in here. I just assume because none of it has rotted or gone terribly crispy, that it's okay. I don't know. Hi guys. And Dracaena in general, I love them. I love Dracaena so much because, once again, I find it to be an easy care plant. They put up with a lot. They don't get so mad about the drier air in the winter. Of course, they love the humidity and the warmth in the summer, but it's tolerant. Low light, high light, a smidge of direct sun hasn't made these mad. I think I probably have a dozen different Dracaena. These are 3 different ones potted together, you know, and I couldn't tell you the varieties. I'm so sorry. I just take for granted that they look great all the time. So, and where's the other one? And then this one is a separate one. So yeah, 3 different varieties. My cat's getting ready to get stung by a wasp. But yeah, it's quite dry now. I don't know how long it's been dry. Does it look mad about it? I don't think it looks mad about it. I mean, does it look like it could use some water? Yeah, sure. We've got some crispy tips here and there. And that's probably from other times that I've let it be completely dried out. I will water it when I'm done here, I promise. But yeah, it's just a great plant. Slower growing, still grows during the winter, during the off season for me. But slower. Once again, of course, summer, heat, extra light, warmth, humidity. It does grow faster. But these were, you know, much shorter when I got them. So they're growing slowly but surely. I have a bunch. This is one of the unhappy ones. So not all of my Dracaena are thrilled. The cats have knocked this one over. This one lived outside where it definitely got full sun. And it definitely got dehydrated. You can see maybe it's old burns. I don't know. Old damage, maybe from the cats. I have another one that the cat really, really loves to chew on. Like, I had to move it up off the floor. It's marginata. But yeah, it's wobbly in its pot, because that's kind of how they grow. They don't stay those dense little compact things forever. I think leaf loss is fairly normal. Maybe a little bit more extreme on this one, where it has been so neglected. It does have new growth, though, despite everything. It's just a tough plant. There are so many reasons to love Dracaena. I know for some of y'all, I'm preaching to the choir, and then for others, you're like, no. And I get it. I get it. But my goal is to have a bunch of Dracaena trees in my house someday. Someday. I'm leaning more and more towards, as I get older, as I progress from middle-aged, towards having just big, tall, huge plants. And I do have a fair amount of big plants. Some of them we'll see in this video. But anyway, this is not a big plant. This is not. It is, what, 2 foot tall? I don't know. Yeah. So I like them. I like them a lot. I think that's the last one I'm gonna shove in your face. But yeah, I don't talk about them a lot because easy care, I don't know if I've ever had pests on any. Maybe some spider mites. I wouldn't even notice because they're that tough. The foliage can take a lot. Like I said, even a little bit of direct sun doesn't seem to bother them too much. I don't know if I'd throw it out in the middle of the yard and let it fry all day, but a little bit of direct sun doesn't seem to bother it. Alocasia. I love alocasia. I really, really do. And I think this is just a dragon scale. It's currently sitting on the floor because it has spider mites, or had. I may or may not have gotten them off of here. One of these was variegated once upon a time, and it's lost its variegation since. Don't care. I still love the plant. This is one of the easier alocasia for me to take care of. Is like the dragon scale types, like silver dragon. I find black velvet pretty easy. Of course, I say that, and mine's dormant right now. It's down to the corm. I don't know. I think part of the reason why I find them easier is because I grow them in pawn. Pawn or leca, most of them, not all of them. But yeah, I don't mention them a lot because, as I say, some of mine are down to the corm. And then other ones, they just don't need much from me. So I'm just not, I don't have to hyper focus on them. This is one. Normally, I think this is the first time I've had spider mites on it in a long time. You can see some damage there. But yeah, the ones that I'm never mentioning, it's not because I don't love them anymore. It's mostly because they're dormant and they don't need me, or they're doing great and they don't need me. So I would actually say that this one is doing great despite the spider mites because it's winter. And this is about as good as I get with this particular alocasia in the winter. But I love her. I do. Another one that I don't talk about a whole lot is Regal Shields. I can't remember what I called it in the last video, but I did call it by the wrong name. I think this is the newest leaf here. And this is much smaller than typical for these. Looks good. It looks very dry. Very dry. Because once again, this is like a very, very tough alocasia. It has had a full-on infestation of spider mites a few times lately, and I think it might have some more currently. But it's not apt to throw a fit. I mean, it has to be really, really infested before I notice damage to the foliage from spider mites, if that makes any sense. And it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty dirty, dusty. But I'm going to go put it by the sink anyway, because I'm going to wash it off, because I'm pretty sure it's got some spider mites on it again, or still, and it needs water. But overall, I think it's one of the more resilient alocasia. It rarely ever needs anything from me. I mean, I've had it so infested with spider mites before, I don't know how it survived. Let's put it that way. Because I know that this plant is tough and I don't have to hover. Should I have been at that particular point in time? Definitely, but I wasn't. So, I try to do better now with the spider mite situation on this poor plant. It's worth it. I love it. Yeah, let me go put it by the sink though. As I say though, not all of my alocasia are maintaining well through the winter. Actually, this one's been doing poorly for a while. This is Alocasia Dragon's Breath, or what's left of it, if I can catch it. Heterophylla, maybe? It was doing pretty well. It has had spider mites, for sure, because for whatever reason, I decided that it was a genius idea to cluster all of my alocasia together. It's tried to put out some new growth from corms underneath there. It had I think root mealies is why I had repotted it. I had repotted it and treated it with systemic, and then I looked at it again in that other pot that I had repotted it in originally, and it was just still crawling with root mealies. So I put it in a much smaller closed container, systemic, and I don't see any root mealies. Like, if you can actually see some roots in there, you'd see them if they were still there. You would see them because they definitely find the roots and cling on. But it looks pretty bad. It definitely looks pretty bad. I probably need to go ahead and repot it again because it's been in here for a while. And it seems to do well for a while. It'll put off a couple new leaves, and then it looks like this. This is one corm here. Why is it doing that? Why? Why is that who you are? I don't know. But it's not maintaining leaves for very long. And I am feeding it, so maybe just not enough. That and this does dry really quickly. It's just spawn with a little bit of leca at the bottom. That plant is ridiculous. Poor thing. I should dig it out of there and try to, rescue it, but at this point, it's been in such a humid environment down in there, I don't think we'd ever get good growth on that. I'm not sure. But I'll repot it soon, and that's also a good time that I'll actually look for any corms that I can save and not doomed to that fate. But yeah, you don't see it often because it looks pretty awful. There's not much to say about it other than I am trying. And I'm thinking with spring, it's a good time to try to make it better. Sorry if I'm appearing antsy. My cat is scratching me because he wants food. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back. Some other plants I never talk about is the bananas. They're just the regular bananas that people grow in their yard. They are supposed to be hardy in my area. And by hardy, I mean if you mulch them heavily, they will come back. I don't mulch. That's not who I am as a person. I am a low maintenance gardener. So if it can't fend for itself out there over winter, it's probably not going to do well. So I do bring some in the winter, dig them out of the ground, pull them out of the ground, whatever the case may be, offsets. And yeah, I just kind of overwinter some, and then I'll split some off and plant them in the ground all over the yard. Some years, even without the mulching, if it's a very mild winter, they'll just come back on their own, and sometimes not so much. And that's usually, if we've had a long freeze, which we did this year. We've had a couple blizzards, lots of snow, and long periods where the temperature was well below freezing. So, yeah, they're just in pots chilling here. There's not much to talk about. They do grow slowly, but they do grow indoors for me. I try to give them direct sun, which is hard to do indoors. So it gets a few hours a day at best. Or a very strong grower light, which I would put literally as close to the plant as I can get it. I have 4 pots, maybe 5 pots of this around. And some of them, my cat is knocking over my plants. I think she just got stung by that wasp. Yeah, she did. Hang on. Some of them I will end up giving away in the spring, like within the next few weeks, so that my young people can plant them at their houses or keep them in pots, whatever they want to do with them. I just don't, there's no way I need that many because they produce offsets like you wouldn't believe. Even in pots over the winter, right there, coming up on the edge, is a little banana offset. So, yeah. It's kind of, if you have this plant once, you'll probably have it forever. They want a lot more water than I would think in a pot. They don't grow as quickly, but they do grow pretty steadily, and they still produce offsets just about the same as they would in the ground. So, I mean, it's a nice plant, even as an indoor plant. It's just, spider mites are difficult to keep off of them indoors, and providing them with enough light is kind of tricky, because you will rot them if you water them as much as they want, but don't give them as much light as they want. So, still thinking about a variegated banana. I had that on my wish list, maybe not last year because I didn't make one, but maybe the year before. And they are more affordable this year. Even the pink variegated one, I think that's a Musa type, I'm not sure. The one I was just showing you, there's two different varieties. One is a Cavendish and then the other is a Grand Nain, I believe is what it's called. I couldn't tell you which one's which because they kind of all look the same to me. They're just green bananas. You put them out in the full sun and they get kind of like a red variegation on them. But as the tree grows more outside, it kind of loses that on the more mature leaves. My aglaonemas are another one that doesn't seem to get mentioned a whole lot. This one probably more than my other ones, which is peculiar because I do love aglaonemas. This is Aglaonema pictum tricolor, and it's a very nice plant. I do like the sort of camouflage look of it. It's very cool, very cool, and it kind of splits and puts off offsets as aglaonema do. It's a great plant. This one has, over the winter, mostly it just kind of wants to flower. It did put out this leaf recently. It's still very soft, very tender, beautiful. But yeah, it does a lot of flowering in the winter for me. As far as care, I treat this one just like I do my other aglaonema, which is I shove it somewhere in reasonably bright light. I don't treat any of my plants as if they're strictly low light plants. I give them as much light as they will tolerate, or I try to. Sometimes that's hard. But yeah, pretty bright light, and I rarely water them once they're established anyway. They don't love water. They need it to survive, but they don't want a whole lot of it. Especially if you are putting them in lower light areas. They really don't need a whole lot. I water this one probably more than any other aglaonema I have, and that's probably because this one is in brighter light than my other aglaonemas. This one sits kind of directly under a grow light, so getting fairly high light, fairly high. So yeah, that, and I think this is the least established one I have. I would say it is established now, but it's, of the ones I have, it's the least established. It's the newest one, and I don't know if I've had it a year, so probably not quite a year yet. But yeah, this one is actually probably my favorite aglaonema, and I'm not even sure exactly what it's called. I've heard it's called Ghost and some other name. I don't know. It's really hard for you to see the leaves because they all want to point up. And it also is doing that thing where it just wants to flower throughout the winter. That's fine. And it's produced a few offsets. This is one. I have not removed this one yet. I kind of like just the one piece sticking up. So I do often, on this one anyway, remove the offsets. And I'm sure my daughter would be glad to have it. This is one of her favorites of my plants, actually. And I mean, I can see why. It's pretty, I mean, it's tough. I got this plant three years ago, and it was just covered in mealybugs, and I didn't realize it. I got it in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yeah, covered in mealybugs, which wasn't fun for me because I just don't love mealybugs. I don't know anybody who does, but I treated it. I think I killed the ones that I could see. Like sprayed them with, I think I was still using mostly Captain Jacks for that purpose at the time. And also a systemic pesticide in the soil. Because I'm sure there were plenty of mealybugs that I couldn't see and just spray to hopefully get rid of. But yeah, I've never had another problem with it. And I just love it. I don't know what else to say about it. It's an easy plant. It's an easy plant. I know people are like, aglaonema is just plain old Jane plant, but man, sometimes that's the most wonderful thing about a plant, is that it's tried and true, stands the test of time, and I feel like most aglaonema are that, and I really appreciate it. This is the last aglaonema I'm about to show you, and I couldn't tell you the name of it. I can tell you the battery is about to go on us. Let me change that real quick and I'll be back. It's just one that I grabbed at Lowe's or Home Depot, probably Lowe's. And it's one of the more common ones that you see all the time there. It used to be much more colorful, but I have been growing this in pretty low light lately. And if you've been watching for a while, this is the same aglaonema that I was showing maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, oh, it's perfect, it's wonderful. She is beauty, she is grace, it's huge. This is half the size it used to be. Half the size it used to be. I mean, as far as volume filling the pot. I believe I repotted it as well into a whole different pot. It has a support in there, which generally aglaonema don't need. What happened was I rotted it. I rotted at least half of the plant because it was in the greenhouse and I was trying to give it lower light, so it was kind of up underneath a bunch of other plants. However, I mean, it was still getting pretty high light. However, it was getting watered every day along with everything else in the greenhouse. It really didn't like that because it was low. It was always getting overspray, dripping water on it into the pot, and it definitely got overwatered. And about half of the plant rotted. And because it had been so overwatered for so long, the stems weren't turgid anymore because they just didn't have enough healthy root to wick up that water and keep the plant upright. So I could probably remove it now. It's been a few months since I repotted it. I just watered it today after not watering it for about 2 weeks. So, and I'm trying to give it higher light. I don't know. Hopefully it'll be fine. But yeah, I might have mentioned it when I might have repotted it on the channel, or I might have just went, oh, I should do something about that, or I won't have any plant left. Not sure. Not sure if I repotted it with you guys or not. But, I mean, it's been a while now. And it seems to be okay. Seems to be okay now. Was not a short time ago. But yeah, aglaonema, it's a plant that I would never hesitate to buy. Just because I do love them, and they just really, normally, don't listen to me on this one. I mistreated this one. Normally don't need much from me. And I don't talk about them too often because they kind of always look just like they look. I mean, I think they're lovely, but yeah, they're not something that's going to change rapidly, for the most part anyway, that I've noticed. Not in my conditions, not with my care. Maybe they grow faster for someone else, but not for me. Fast enough. Just fast enough. The next plant is this oxalis, and I never talk about it because it doesn't always look like this. It's pretty happy right now, currently. It's flowering, you know, it's got its little cute little flowers on it. It's nice and compact, it's pretty bushy. Like, this is, for me, the ideal way that this plant would look. But it doesn't always look like this. Sometimes I'm not giving it such great light and it gets really leggy. I don't love a leggy oxalis. I think it looks much better kind of compact and bushy. It's my humble opinion. Also, it can be a little bit picky about water. I have killed it right on back to the soil before, many times. I think I got it maybe 4 years ago. I didn't actually buy a plant. It was a volunteer in a pot of another plant that I bought. It was just one little piece. And eventually when I repotted the other plant, I separated the oxalis out and slowly uppotted it until we're at a 6-inch pot. Now, as I say, it's this particular 6-inch pot, same pot, has died completely back to the soil more than once. Just because sometimes I forget to water it. I've had other oxalis before. The most recent one I bought was about 6 months ago. It was like a little tree. I replanted it and it died. And it did not come back. I also had one that was called like fall or autumn something. I can't remember all the names of them. I had one that was orange. Much smaller varieties. They don't come back like this guy does. So, yeah. I like this one though. It is tolerant. I don't have to do much for it except for try to give it decent light and remember to water it. Other than that, it doesn't need much from me. Even the undersides of the leaves are pretty. It's just the color of them. It's very pretty. Yeah. I don't know, it folds up, like the leaves kind of, or fold down rather, when it's dark or in a dim spot or bedtime. It's a cute plant. It's very cool. It's very cool. I do like it quite a bit. It's probably, I make it more difficult for myself than it needs to be. It's an easy care plant. Remember to water it. I don't think I've ever had any pest issues on it, but I believe you could probably do, aphids would probably love this thing. Maybe mealies. I don't know. They're very thin. They're not that kind of succulent type leaf that mealies seem to go for. Maybe thrips. I don't know, but I've never noticed anything on it in 4 or 5 years, so that's fun. Raven ZZ. This is my small one. I have a much larger one. It is still living upstairs in the plant room. Once again, they're plants that I just don't have to think about, and that's why they don't get mentioned a lot. They rarely need a repot. They rarely need water. I keep mine in pretty high light. I know people say that they're a low light plant. They can survive in low light, but they're easier to rot in low light if you water too frequently. I think that's the #1 problem that people have with these, is rotting them. I got one off Facebook 2018, 2019, just a little, a little piece of one. Somebody had given me a cutting. I traded somebody something. I can't even remember what. A cutting of something for a cutting of the Raven ZZ. And this came from that, and here's a picture. This is the other plant. That was the main plant I grew out from that cutting. And I have also given other cuttings away and other full plants from it away over the years. It's a great plant. It does fine outside in the greenhouse. I don't think I've never had to treat it for pests. I do some preventative spraying every once in a while, like if I'm watering it thoroughly. Other than that, I put it in as bright a spot as I can manage for a plant that really doesn't need bright light. In as bright a spot as I can manage, and try to remember to water it about once a month. This one here requires slightly more frequent watering. It's not as established. I mean, it's established enough, I guess. It's tight in its pot. Its potato rhizome down there, whatever you'd call that, is probably about as big as the pot because it's tight in there. You can't squeeze the pot, even though it's a flimsy sleeve, basically. But yeah, this one gets watered slightly more than the one that's larger and more established because that one's also in a larger pot. That one doesn't require as frequent watering. So, I don't know. I love them. I love them. Part of the reason for me trying to give them as high of light as possible is that these branches, whatever you'd call them, as the plant dehydrates, if they're long and leggy because they've been reaching for light, they'll fall over. And that's not a vibe for me. I like my plants to be upright, unless they're supposed to be creepers or crawlers or sprawlers. I don't think ZZ plant is supposed to be. So yeah, that's part of the reason why I try to give it high light, is to maintain the very upright growth. So yeah, but I love it. I love it. I don't have a green one. I don't think I've ever had a green one. I babysat my daughter. She had one that was all green, and then she had a variegated baby. I think they both died on her. I had that for years, probably 4 or 5 years. I just took care of it until she got her own place, and then I think she was watering it the same way I would, but I don't know if it was getting as much light for her as I was giving it, because I had it growing outside in the greenhouse and not quite full sun, but significantly brighter than anywhere my house is going to be, even under the grow light. So yeah, that was sad. Maybe I'll buy her a new one. Maybe I'll get her a variegated one. That would be fun. I want the pink variegated ZZ, but they're all from a leaf. I'd rather have an actual plant. Other than the blue oil fern or Microsomum thailandicum, I never talk about ferns. I love ferns, and I think the reason I don't talk about them too often is because I often do just forget about them and they die, or they die back. They look pretty terrible, and then I have to wait for a flush of new growth like what you see here. The new growth looks pretty good, but if you look down in there, I just about cut it down to nothing because it was pretty crispy. Pretty crispy. And that seems to be the cycle with me in ferns, but I do love ferns. I mean, look at that. Even with no humidity, it doesn't look that bad, right? It doesn't look that bad, considering that I've been taking care of it. I don't even know what variety of this fern is. I have no idea what type of fern it is. If you know, please feel free to tell me, but I couldn't tell you. I think it just came as fern, you know, it just says fern. I had an asparagus fern, and I just got it last spring. It really didn't last long. And I've had asparagus fern before and had them forever. This particular one, I just got done saying, oh, asparagus fern, probably one of the easiest ferns for me to take care of. And it had been. The cat knocked it over, so I kind of stuffed it back in its pot, and did I water it? I'm not sure. Stuffed it back in its pot, just willy-nilly, didn't really sit down and take the time to love on this thing at all. I just stuffed it back in there, maybe watered it, maybe didn't, and put it back on the shelf where it was living. I think a few days later, I was like, I should check on that. And it was knocked down again, because I wasn't smart enough to move it. Knocked down again, and it was just so dried out, I didn't see any point in trying to repot that and bring it back. And so I haven't bought another one since. I probably will in the future. Like I said, I really do like them. I generally don't have too much problems with that particular kind of fern. It's the forgetting about them. So, like, this one looks okay right now. It will look better in a few weeks. It has looked better than this previously. But yeah, that's why I don't show my ferns very often, because this is kind of them. But I will continue to own them and have them because there's just something about it. There's nothing that screams forest to me, personally, more than a fern. I have ferns in my woods, you know what I mean? I don't know, I love them. I love them so much. One thing that seems to happen a lot on this channel is I'll haul a plant and I'll be like, oh, look at this cool plant I got, and then you just never seem to see it again. It just disappears into the abyss, and it's not gone. Kind of like this one here. This is Epipremnum amplissimum variegated, sort of variegated. I hauled it, I repotted it, and I don't know if I mention it, it's in passing. It's like, oh yeah, there's that plant, or I'm moving this plant, or you know, whatever. There's nothing wrong with it. I can't say that it's been a speed demon as far as growth goes. I cut it a while ago, and I'm not really getting super quick growth from the places where I cut it. Here's this one where I cut it. I don't know if you can see. There's growth points, yes, but they ain't in no hurry. This is the slowest Epipremnum. Really slow. Well, maybe the Marble Queen's slower. I'll show you that one too, because I never show it. There's a good reason for that, though. But yeah, it's fine. It's just slow. There's not much change. I debated for a while if I wanted to put some on a pole. I don't think so. I think you'd have to have multiple vines going up the pole for this to look pretty cool on a pole. A lot of this one is reverted. I think that's why I had cut it in the first place, as I was cutting back some places. Can't remember. I could cut it more, but I'm going to wait until we see more active growth. Better weather for it, I guess. I mean, some of it, maybe it's just that it's not getting great light, or it just takes its sweet time to show that it's variegated. Looks very green on green, but eventually it does kind of get creamy and then kind of, you know, lighter. It just takes its sweet time. But yeah, I still love this plant. I'm happy I have this plant. She just slow. She real slow. Nothing wrong with it though. So yeah, those plants that I haul that you just never seem to hear about again, they're still here. They're just, you know, taking their sweet time, doing whatever they do. Or I killed them. That's possible too. This is Dieffenbachia reflector that I've probably been trying to rehab for a very long time. I had it in a cup of leca until, I want to say last year this time, when I finally potted up into soil. I think it's grown maybe 1 or 2 leaves and probably lost 1 or 2 leaves. I'm not great with Dieffenbachia. I try. I try because I do love them. And I see other people with these incredible specimens and they're like, easiest plant ever. Really? I mean, it's okay. I do love it. Most of the time it does just kind of sit there. It grows some, it dies some, it grows some, it dies. I mean, you can see it's kind of actively growing right now. Spider mites are a thing on these. I think that's the only real issue I've had with this particular one is spider mites. I have killed an obscene amount of these plants. Not intentionally, of course, but just because I can't figure out what they want from me. I keep trying. I got a big one for my birthday last year, 1 year ago. About 2 months ago, I chopped it all down to stumps. It's still sitting there just being stumps. It's not rotting, it's not growing, it's just chilling, just sitting there. Because the spider mite damage was pretty heavy on it, and it looked like the leaves were just kind of turning to mush. Even though there was no root rot, they were just melting. So I don't know. Never take tips on caring for your Dieffenbachia from me. I'll just say that. And it seems like I do try to follow other people's tips, care tips. That's not working for me either. So this is pretty much what she's doomed to. But I still love her. I have a few others. I have one, I think it's called Tiki or something, that looks just like this, basically. Just like this. I mean, the growth. And I've been trying with that one for about a year longer than this one. I don't know. Begonias. This is a begonia that humbled me. It is Begonia Sinbad, what's left of it. I think I have, I don't know, 5 or 6 begonias around, and some of them are okay, some of them not so much. This one is currently okay, but this begonia humbled me so hard because I said, oh, cane type begonias, you know, the very upright growing kind, easy peasy, never had a problem with them. This is what's left of what was. It took off and grew and it was a wonderful plant for a while, and then suddenly something was very wrong. What was very wrong? I never did figure it out. But this is growing back from nothing. It had a friend. The friend died in the same pot. In the same pot. That died and this one's fine. I don't even know what to say about Begonia Sinbad. It's beautiful. Like, I had high hopes for this plant. Really high hopes. I was in love with it. Still like it quite a bit. Not quite as enamored as I was. Just because it's a little bit more difficult than I'm used to with like cane style begonia, angel wing type begonia. I don't know. So, and I haven't found that it was a humidity thing. Like, I literally, literally have no idea. It's actually done better since I moved it away from the humidity out of the cabinet. I had it in the small cabinet down there, the IKEA Detolf. I had it in there, and it wasn't doing fantastically. So it's been out for a while. It's been out for a while now, and it actually seems better in ambient. Go figure. This, I think, is called Begonia semperflorens. I should cut it. I should cut it. It's, I have cut it before. I mean, maybe you can see there. That wasn't that long ago, and it's put out this new little bit here. But it seems to be a forever chase with this begonia, that you cut it, it'll put out some happy growth, and then it's unhappy. And I gotta be honest with you, it's probably my fault. It's still in the nursery pot that I bought it in. This is supposedly hardy in my area. I'm gonna plant it outside in the spring. What's left of it? I mean, could it possibly go worse? And I do like this begonia. It's very colorful, believe it or not, because it comes in with like this kind of reddish brown growth, and then there's green, and I don't know. It was pretty once upon a time. It's had a rough winter. No, I can't even say that. It's had a rough several months. I probably should have planted outside last spring when I got it. So yeah, this is one that I hauled. It was around for a little while, and then it just kind of disappeared, because I'm constantly rehabbing it. I'm rehabbing it so much that you'd be sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of hearing about it. Okay, so this next begonia is pretty embarrassing. It's not the begonia's fault, it's my fault. It's begonia looking glass. And you're probably thinking, that looks like shit. No, this is great for what this plant has been through. It's probably bone dry. It has probably been bone dry. And somehow it's still surviving. Yeah, that's dry. That's dry, and I can't remember exactly the last time I watered it. It got lost. It got lost is what happened. I put it up on top of my bird's cage. I guess I was walking by, and I just set it up there. And I feed and water the bird every day. I talk to the bird, I play with the bird, I take the bird in and out. How I missed the begonia sitting there just deteriorating, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how long it's looked this bad. I mean, it was already draped over, but you can see we've had some loss. I'm gonna probably cut and propagate the whole thing. I did have somewhere some propagations of it from the cut there, but I don't know where they are either. Hopefully they're fine. So yeah, that's the plan for it. But man, I feel this is not good. Not good at all. Could it be worse? Yes. Because somehow this is holding itself upright and holding on to some leaves. So I think there's hope that I can get it. Did you see the dust come off? I think there's hope that I can get it back on track. But yeah, it's disappointing. Because I have struggled with this begonia. I had struggled to get it to the size that it was. It's very tricky. Normally it's very fussy about water, which I'm flabbergasted that it's at all alive. Let's put it that way. Because it has been trickier for me. Lots of light, lots of water. Just not the light anyway. I wouldn't think would be typical for a begonia. I guess maybe because it's so light in color. Don't know. Yeah. Oops. But that's the reality of some of my plants that you just don't see that often. Maybe it's because I don't see them that often and I forget them. Another one is this Ficus schefflera. It's fine. It's fine. It looks like a Ficus schefflera. I'm a little bit late, but I probably should have already chopped this to encourage it to branch. I know a lot of people say that's how you get them to branch. I have chopped many Ficus like Burgundy, Ficus Taniki, Ficus Ruby. None of them have really branched like that for me. They just kept growing right from the top. They just shot out another growth point at the top and kept going. I've also heard bending them over. I'm not sure. I might try that with this one. You know, bend it over, weight it down, and put it under a light and see if that works. I'm overheating now. Perfect. But yeah, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, you know, I don't need to do much to it. They do get some spider mites and occasionally a mealybug, but for the most part, easy peasy. Just sits there. I don't have to intervene much. I just repot them occasionally. This one has been repotted twice so far. In a couple of years, maybe 2 years that I've had this particular one. Oh, and moving right along, I did say that I'd show you my Marble Queen pothos. It was magnificent last spring. I put it out in the greenhouse because I generally do put philodendrons, pothos, things like that out in the greenhouse. A bird laid a nest in it, and I left it there. Watering it wasn't the easiest, so it didn't really get a whole lot of care. And it has been slowly trying to rehab since it's been back in. Believe it or not, this is an improvement since it's been back inside. I have not repotted it yet though, so it probably has cooties in there still. Eventually I will get brave and break out some gloves like bird poop. Who knows what's in there? I will eventually get brave, break out some gloves, and repot it. Because I do love this plant. This one in particular, and I do not want to lose it. I grew it from like very small, like 3-inch starter plant. So, yeah. It's still constantly dying. It has completely defoliated many of its vines at multiple nodes. Yeah. I've just been lazy and putting it off. But I do love this plant. So, but before spring, well, before spring is the rest of the way sprung, I'm gonna have to fix it. Because I don't want it to die. And it's not going well for this plant. It's regrowing some. I mean, it has brand new growth in some places, like new shoots that have come up. But, yeah. I'm probably gonna repot it in a smaller pot, cut it way back, maybe propagate some of the vines that look okay. I don't know. But, yeah, that's why you don't hear much about it. It's just sitting, waiting for its turn. I feel like I hardly ever talk about philodendron anymore. This is philodendron bicolor, which I've had less than a year. This is the base of the plant. I cut it quite some time ago. Months ago. November, December. And that's where I cut it. There's not much going on. There's a growth point that's just kind of been sitting there. Right there. Kind of red. It's doing absolutely nothing for the most part. It's not dying, it's not getting crispy. There's very little change at all since I cut this plant. The cuttings of this plant are yonder, also doing nothing. They had some roots on them, I potted them up. There's no growth. That was probably also a couple months ago now. Yeah. So I guess if you have one, let me know if yours does the same thing anytime you cut it. I've also been told that this is like an affinity something else. It's not a true bicolor. I don't know. I really don't know. I like the plant no matter what it is, like affinity ruizii. Is that maybe what I was told? I'm not sure. But I like the plant. I don't care what it is. I'm just telling you, that way you have some idea what I bought it as and what I've been told it is instead. I don't know. I would love it if someday it would grow. I never had a chance. I think it was too cool maybe when I got it to put it out in the greenhouse. Or I was getting ready to bring the stuff in, so I didn't see the point of the in, out with this plant. So maybe it'll find some enthusiasm if I put it outside this summer. We'll see. Philodendron UPI, which I just don't talk about it because this is another plant that I feel like I'm rarely doing anything to. It really doesn't need much from me. I've never had any problems with it. It did get thrips. It still has all the leaves that had thrips on it. My cat has really done a number on a couple of the leaves. Some of them are broken, but still hanging in there. This is the newer growth here. Why this one is so short and compact, I couldn't tell you. Like the petiole, I mean. The petiole on that is maybe 8 inches compared to some other ones that are much longer. I couldn't tell you. Maybe better light. I just don't mention it because it's always doing fine. Doing great for the most part, I'd say. It might be kind of leggy as far as the petioles, but the growth is very compact. Like, the actual stem, the way that grows is very compact, even though the petioles are a lot. To be fair, some of the leaves can get very long on this. This is still small. It's about a foot long, maybe. It looks larger because it's way in front of me. But yeah, I mean, it can be very long. So I don't know why this one decided to be so chubby and squat. I couldn't tell you. All I can figure is a difference in the lighting. It's still very soft. Just opened up. It's also a very sticky plant. EFN. I don't know if you'll be able to see any of the little sugar crystals on there. But yeah, I just don't talk about it because it doesn't need much from me ever. I put it on a pole not too long ago. Sorry, my husband keeps calling me. But yeah, what I was saying is I just put this on a moss pole, I don't know, pretty recently. It is not grabbing the moss pole at all. It is not. It doesn't need a moss pole to size up. I mean, that's a pretty good size leaf right here. It wasn't on a moss pole when it grew, that leaf. This is the only leaf it has grown since being on the moss pole, which is actually pretty small and much fatter. But either way, it's not grabbing the moss pole. Prior to that, I had it on a stick. Nothing wrong with a stick. It will size up just fine on a stick. I don't even have a problem with the way the stick looked. However, it wasn't stable in the pot. The stick was flopping and leaning after a while, and it wasn't ideal. The moss pole is stable in the pot, much more stable than the stick was, so that's the only reason for the moss pole. Not really because the plant needs it. The plant would like support, but it doesn't need it to size up. I'll put it that way. It'll size up on a stick, or a pole, or a pipe, whatever you shove in there. Chopstick. I probably could have done a chopstick. It's a little bit more sturdy maybe than the acrylic stake I was using. Acrylic stick? I don't know. I'm sure there are 800 more philodendrons. I don't have nearly the philodendrons that I used to have. I think I mentioned that because I had a bacterial or fungal issue, and that was problematic for a lot of my philodendrons. I have a few, and I love the ones that I have. This is one that I don't really talk about a whole lot because it's fine. I love this philodendron. I believe it's silver stripe, maybe? Kind of similar to Brazil, but less yellow. Just less yellow in it. And it's pretty. It's really pretty. It does well. I have it, and I try to keep it in medium to high light for a philodendron because I find that in lower light the leaves will get smaller. That one's kind of smaller, and it's dangling further down away from the light. But overall, it's pretty easy. I don't ever do anything with it. Ever. It's in a nursery pot. I can't remember if this came in a nursery pot or if I had repotted it into this nursery pot. I don't know. Not sure. But yeah, I don't do much with it. So I don't talk about it a whole lot unless I'm, once again, in passing, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's philodendron, blah, blah, blah. But that's about it. That's about it. It's fine. It looks great all the time. Humble opinion. I love it. Look at that dark, all green leaf there. It's an oddball. It's an oddball. I guess it was losing its variegation as it went on that vine. Here's a plant I never talk about because it's generally not ever doing wonderfully. And that is not because this is a difficult plant. It's a mandarin plant. It's a type of chlorophytum, I believe. I've had it for years. And it's thin and leggy because it was in very low light. I've just recently moved it. I'm sorry, I keep wiping my hand on my pants because it's got a lot of like salts built up in the soil and on the pot, and it's gritty and I can feel it, and I am a very tactile person and it bothers me. But this plant, it hasn't been fertilized regularly. It has barely gotten water regularly. The cats have done a number on it, running up and down the stairs. It literally sat on the stairs that go from my downstairs to my upstairs. So it got very little light in a stairwell, you know. Occasionally I'd walk by and go, oh, you look crusty, maybe I should dump the rest of this water bottle in there. It hasn't been repotted since shortly after I got it. I repotted it then, and it should probably have a repot. I should probably clean some of the dust off of it because there's plenty, and fertilize it and regularly water it. That would probably help quite a bit because this is maybe the worst it's ever looked, just from so long of just sitting there. I potted it into this plant that my best friend got me for my birthday, or gave me for my birthday, made me for my birthday, when I was in my early 40s. So it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah. I think I need to repot it, clean it up, and basically treat it like a brand new plant and baby it for a while. Maybe it'll be okay. You can see where I've cut some crispiness off of some old leaves. Like the whole leaf looks terrible now. I don't know. It's not a hard plant to keep alive. It's not a hard plant to get looking good. It's very tolerant of neglect, clearly, or it would be dead. I assure you it would be dead. But yeah, I love the color on it, and why I just let it go. I think I was really hoping that it was going to work in that spot, and it did for a long time. It worked. It did not thrive. So yeah, that's, I don't know, I never show this one. I think maybe since I hauled it, or maybe that was the second one I hauled. Either way, that was quite a long time ago, because plants were still living on a shelf in my kitchen then. It's been a minute. Monstera aurea. I do talk about them kind of in passing, but I rarely focus on them or show them a whole lot. This is actually one of the ones that looks the worst. There's two plants in this pot. One is nice and upright as it should be. The other one is just about to fall over. It has new growth currently, the one that's falling over. It looks pathetic. And this is very dry, and I just watered it. So yeah, I think it just needs to be repotted into something that will maintain a little bit more moisture. You can see this is very bark heavy, very perlite. And I'm not sure if it's just because that's what's come to the top, or because I've intentionally potted it into something that was so much bark. Not sure, but either way, I think I need to dig around in there and check it out, because it's just drying really quick. Maybe it's just time to repot the plant, even though I don't see any roots at the bottom. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, one seems angry, and the other one's like, I'm fine. I don't know. Go figure. Yeah, I have a lot of these around. I have the reverted mother plant actually, still, which is much bigger, but reverted. It reverted 2 or 3 years ago now. But I keep it because I think that's the only green monstera I have, other than little like Monstera borzigiana that were reverted albos. The small form, I guess, monstera. That one is large form. They all came from the same stock, these Monstera albos, and they're all large form. So they get pretty big. This is just a different one. I never much talk about this one either. It does do some crisping on the yellow. For me, it's sometimes a humidity issue, but I think most of the time it's a lack of watering the plant issue. You can see many pieces that were all yellow that are just gone. They're just gone. Like this leaf here, it was mostly half yellow there. This one, this is almost too variegated for me. You can see the variegation kind of increasing in the petiole and the stem. Let's see if I can swing her around. There we go. So I'm not sure if I'm going to need to cut that. Like I don't want it to go all yellow, obviously, but high variegation is fine, even though it does crisp up pretty badly on the aurea. I don't know. I don't show it because this plant generally, other than the crisping, is fine. Doesn't need too much from me. This one's also drying pretty quickly, and I haven't had it potted in here that long, a few months. Literally a few months, because I put the PVC in there with it. I don't know. I'll have to check it out in the future, but for now I'm just watering it more to keep up with the fact that it seems to be drying more. Maybe it's just because it's, most days anyway, warmer here. It was 85 for a few days, and then we had snow yesterday. Go figure. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. And generally an easy care plant. Of course the variegation makes it a little bit trickier maybe than just an all green monstera, but it's so pretty. So pretty. It's got a new leaf coming there. It looks like it's going to be pretty highly variegated. It comes in kind of green on green, and then it hardens off to, you know, green, green, and a couple shades of yellow. A couple shades of green, couple shades of yellow. It's very pretty. And then there's the plants that grow on the, or in the void behind my couch. Like, this is my couch. This is just dead space back here because these are recliners. But anyway, that's the Taniki, Burgundy, and Ruby. And I don't talk about it much because it just kind of chills. I mean, it grows slowly. All of the growth has been topped, and it has all started regrowing from the top. There are smaller plants down at the bottom because a couple of them have branched on their own. Some of them have put out offsets down there. You know, I don't know. That plant just does what it wants. It shouldn't need to be repotted for another year or two, I hope. But yeah, it's just defoliated a lot. And I keep trying to make it branch. Maybe I should bend it over. I don't know. Because top cuttings aren't doing that. Aren't making it fill out anywhere else. So yeah. Then that right there is Schefflera. I can't remember the exact name of this variety of Schefflera, but it's much larger than most, like the leaves themselves. Very pretty, very pretty. It is a slow grower for me, but it doesn't lose many leaves. Like, it'll hold on to little leaves forever, forever. So I do like that about it. Scale, spider mites, but I haven't had too much problem with it. Scale, I guess, would probably be one of my worst things with Schefflera because they're a little bit harder to get rid of. You gotta kind of scratch them off and spray the plant, or go the systemic route and still scratch them off. So I don't know. It's okay though. It is a plant that I do really enjoy. And then it probably seems crazy that I have my Philodendron Florida Beauty shoved back here, but it just doesn't need much from me, so it can just kind of chill here until it can go back out for the spring and summer. I just extended it not too long ago. It was not grabbing, so even though it had grabbed further down, up here on the extension it wasn't, so I've just pinned it back, and I'm trying to keep it good and hydrated. Again, the biggest issue pest-wise that I have with this one is probably spider mites. It had spider mites, I think, the day before yesterday, so it still might today. Also, thrips seem to really enjoy it, which is not my favorite, but it's a very pretty plant. Very low demands on me, so I like that a lot. Also, up here on this shelf, the Thai constellations, there's 2 in that pot. I hardly ever talk about them. It's got a leaf going, I know. But to be fair, that shelf is probably 7 feet high off the ground or off the floor, and it gets hot up there because of the high ceiling. The heat just gathers there. That plant's fine. I don't talk about it much because it's kind of slower growing for me, probably because I underwater it. But yeah, it's fine. It just does its thing. Next to it there is a Sansevieria moonshine. It's been in that pot for quite a while. It just minds its business. Doesn't do much, doesn't need much water. I give it pretty high light. That is a grow light that's above those plants in that fixture up there. But yeah, and then that little pot there, the gray pot toward the center of the screen, that's actually Philodendron branchianum. I know, it looks dead. It's not, it's just cobwebby and crawled all the way across the shelf. So yeah, I should do something about that. That's the other Dracaena, the Dracaena marginata I was talking about. I don't really talk about it. It doesn't need a whole lot. It just chills there. Like I said, it was on the floor, but the cats were doing a number on it, so yeah. And then Philodendron, I think it's bipennifolium here. Never talk about it, but it's fine. Yucca plant, just chills. It's in fairly low light. It's probably the easiest plant ever because I only need to water it about once a month. I try to give it brighter light than what it's getting currently, but yeah, it's fine. I don't mention it because there's not much to talk about with it. It just chills. Very slow growing for me. Also very low maintenance, so it's good. A lot of the pothos who I chopped and extended recently, I say recently, meaning in the fall, it's fine, it's just not growing much. It's this, I think it's put out 2 leaves this winter. both significantly smaller than what it was. This is global green. But yeah, it's fine. Just not much to say because it's not doing much. What it is doing, it's doing very slowly and very small. And then I've got this philodendron Paraíso Verde. It's not very Paraíso, it's mostly Verde. Somewhere I had an older leaf that had some color to it. That one maybe. I don't know. You can't, it looks all green. There we go. If I get it a little bit closer, you can see a little bit of the color that's there. I think the latest leaf is just that little spot of color right there, other than green. I mean, yeah. It grows dumb. I don't like this plant, and I think that's why I never talk about it. I have not had the easiest time maintaining variegation on it, and I hear it's heat and light related. I have grown this where it got some direct sun in a 120-degree greenhouse. It did not matter. It did not matter. When I cut the plant, the new growth comes in beautiful, beautiful. But slowly but surely, we lose all that variegation. It does harden off some to a darker color anyway, kind of like this, from being very bright initially. But yeah, me and this plant and I, we're not friends. I don't know why I still have it. I really don't. I think it had root mealies about 6 months ago, and that's why I didn't give it away then, because I try not to give people my problems. But yeah, it could use a pole or a support of some sort, but it doesn't matter because this plant still grows stupid. The petioles are the petiole to leaf ratio is very long, even supported, even in good light, in my experience. I don't know, somebody else might be growing it wonderfully. I've seen some that are growing wonderfully that have stellar variegation. It's just never been mine. I've had this plant for maybe 5 years now. No, that's a no for me. I don't know why I still have it. I probably will ask my young people if they want to take a crack at this thing. I don't think any of the three of them will, but I will ask, and if they don't, then I'm going to plant it in the ground outside. And it'll probably do fine. I don't know, some of them do come back the next year if it's been a mild winter. They'll come back the next spring, but they all die to the ground. Philodendron, Syngonium, Monstera, Thematophyllum, anything like that I plant out there, it dies back to the ground. Thematophyllum, Monstera, Syngonium, they all come back pretty well, unless it's been an extremely cold winter. Philodendron are iffy. Some are tougher than others, I guess. This is probably one that will just never die. I don't know, because I've definitely neglected this, if you can't tell. So yeah, that's why the only time I mention this plant is to complain about it. And I try not to complain a whole lot throughout my videos. So that's why we don't talk about her. This plant right here, it's Gynura. I think people commonly refer to it as purple passion vine, I believe. And mine's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's very demanding with water. It's dry now. Mine does not stand up anymore because I've been growing it long enough that it's got a very trailing habit. It could be perkier than this, I'll tell you that. But this plant, I don't know if anybody remembers. I can't remember when or how long, but I've had a version of this plant because I keep having to grow it back from cuttings. It's very picky about water. You have to be on it. It's sensitive to overwatering, but it's sensitive to underwatering. If it doesn't get fairly decent light, it will get very leggy and sparse, where you can see mine has been back and forth with that, and also the underwatering. Also, I could be crazy. Like I said, I don't know if anybody remembers. I think this was originally a variegated plant. I'm about 99% sure. And I guess just over time, it It's reverted from the cuttings. You know, there's just, as far as I can tell, there's no variegation left on it. But I'm pretty certain it was a variegated one. Am I crazy? Pretty sure. But yeah, you can see the underwatering issue has left some bare nodes here and there. Sometimes it'll shoot new growth, like from a bare node, like it has here. It's a plant that I'll just kind of always have in my collection, even if I do have to restart it over and over. It's easy enough to restart. But yeah, I don't talk about it, I guess, because it's such a common plant. It used to be a fancy special plant when it was variegated, I guess. I don't know. I still love it, though. I still love it. It's soft, and the plant itself is green, but the little hairs catch purple in the light, and it's very pretty. It's very pretty. And like I said, it's easy enough, really, as long as you remember to water it more than I do. I don't know. So yeah, I never talk about it because it's not exactly what it was supposed to be, but I like it. I like it. And it doesn't always look great. This is not looking great. It's definitely time to think about restarting again. But yeah, it's pretty. My humble opinion, even in its not best state, I still think it's a pretty plant. I do. And it kind of does put new growth off from the top pretty frequently. Maybe you can see. If you give it top light, otherwise it gets bald and stringy there too. It does demand pretty decent light. This is one that can even take a little bit of full sun as well. You probably wouldn't think so from the darker foliage, but it takes it fairly well. I don't think I've ever burnt it, but I've never, once again, tossed it out in a desert and left it to fend for itself or anything, so I don't know. It's a good one. I love her. This is Dischidia oantha, or Dischidia oantha, or Dischidia Jerry, I think they were calling it. I'm not sure. It's outer variegated. Spider mites love this thing so much. And for whatever reason, I don't have a great time with Dischidia anymore. I had Dischidia Million Hearts variegated. I never got it bigger than a little bitty thing. This is bone dry right now, so that's probably part of the problem, is I can't keep up with watering. But it does have some roots. It was in a smaller pot when I got it, so it's been upsized once. It does have some new growth in there, but a lot of the growth has also died as fast as it's grown. Spider mites. I've never seen anything like it. The spider mites have been insane. I don't talk about it much because I'm constantly fighting with spider mites. It's not really growing super fast or at all. I do like it. I do. I am trying. I better try to water it when I get done here. But I don't know. I just don't talk about it because not a lot's going on. And I don't do great with Dischidia. The best I had was Dischidia or Dischidia, however you'd like to say it. I'm not sure. Rucifolia or Million Hearts, just the all green one. I had a full pot of that. It did great forever. I never repotted it when I got it. I just left it alone. And then at some point, it was just so hydrophobic and I didn't realize it, that it wasn't hydrating. It died. A quick and terrible death out in the greenhouse. So, yeah, Dischidia. I think they're pretty hard. And this one here, I think this is Mandula pothos mainly. There's probably some Enjoy and Pearls and Jade in here also. I'm not sure. You can see some, maybe you can spot the difference. Then over here, but it's mostly just regular old Mandula. There's nothing wrong with it. There was though. This has been a road to recovery with this plant, and I had it in a hanging pot about the same size as the Marble Queen, Snow Queen, Marble Queen pothos. It was just severely underwatered. It was leggy, and it was defoliated along a lot of its vines, so I did cut it back. I did repot it. I don't talk about it because, you know, it's a pothos, and I know not everybody loves them. I do. I do love them. I think this is beautiful, even though it is a Frankenpot. I think I had some pearls and jade cuttings. I'm not sure which one that is. But some pearls and jade cuttings that I just stuck in with it from my daughter, from her plant. And I don't know. I don't mind a frankenpot. I have a few around. I love it. I love it. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine now. And I have faith that the Marble Queen will be once I get it chopped up and repotted. And of course it weighs a cool ton because I just watered it last night. This is a orchid cactus. And I have talked about this some on my channel because it flowers profusely in around October every year. The flowers only last one night. They're gone. Probably by 10 o'clock the next morning. They're fading fast. It does flower other times of the year. Like it'll push out one here, one there. But it does like a full flush of them in October. There will be dozens of flowers on this thing. Ugh. I bought this as a very small plant in a 3-inch pot. It was like a couple cuttings that somebody had stuck in there. Since it has branched off and gone nuts. I've probably had it 4 or 5 years minimum, I'd guess. Definitely grows much faster outdoors in high light, humidity and warmth. Definitely seems to make it go crazy. That seems to be a theme of the plants I'm talking about today. But yeah, I'm trying to get it in the picture, in the frame here, because it's like a good sized plant. Ugh. At one point in time, before I moved these shelves, it was living on the corner of the top shelf, of those shelves over there. But it's very heavy. It's not slowing down growing that much, considering that it's winter. It's still pushing new growth. It is still flowering. It weighs a ton. I don't talk about it much because, once again, it's doing well. I repotted it into this nice heavy planter because when the pot would dry, when it was in a plastic planter, it would fall over. And I didn't want to have the whole plant destroyed. The only pest I think I've ever seen on it was aphids, and that was when I brought it in out of the greenhouse. It actually took me a minute to realize there was aphids on it. The aphids were on the flowers. That's all they cared about. I sprayed it with alcohol. The plant itself didn't seem to care at all, but the aphids didn't like it. So yeah, but yeah, when I say it's kind of still growing, those little skinny bits you see all over this piece here, those are all new growth. So yeah, it's always growing from somewhere, it seems like. I don't know, but I do love it. I do love it quite a bit. I'm not sure, there's a few different kinds of like night blooming orchid cactus. I'm not sure which one this is. The flowers are white, they're fairly large, they're very pretty. I don't think they have much of a smell, can't remember. I don't know, but yeah. It's a jungle vibes plant for sure, and I love it. I love it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because it won't be too long before, even sitting on a shelf, it's hitting the floor. So, for now, it's living on my kitchen counter in front of a south-facing window. Or, like, my kitchen island. Not directly in the window, but close enough that it gets caressed gently for a few hours a day. So, I love it. I don't know. I don't know why I don't talk about it more. It's one of my favorites. So there are many, many more that I hardly ever show. Dogtail cactus, for example, which it's messy, it's wild. It swallowed the pot. There is a pot under there somewhere, I couldn't tell you where. Hoya crassipes. Yeah, there are a ton more that for whatever reason I just never seem to talk about or show. So yeah, even though I'm down to about 200 and some odd plants, there's still tons that I just never seem to show or talk about. And it's not always because something's wrong with them. I show plenty of ugly plants that aren't doing great on my channel, but I think it's mostly because I'm not doing things with them, and my content is very heavily focused on doing, most of the time, plant chores, plant watering, plant propping, repotting, etc. I am so out of breath from holding up these big, huge plants. Heavy plants. Some of them aren't huge. Some of them are just heavy. But yeah, if there's one in particular that you can think of, and you've seen it on my channel before and you've wondered, hey, what happened to that plant? I'm not hiding it from you. Let me know, and I will show it in a video in the future. I honestly, I don't know what people want to know about. I don't know. So I don't know what people want to see me repot or propagate or anything like that. Feel free to tell me, because most of my plants could use a propagating. Except for maybe the newer baby ones, but those are the ones I seem to be talking about all the time, is like my little anthurium, my hoya that I'm still trying to rehab after way too long, or plants that are simply growing so quickly that they're outgrowing their pots, you know. That's pretty much what I seem to be showing all the time. I try to get ahead of plants before they're struggling and in bad shape. Doesn't always work out that way, but I do try. I don't know, so let me know what you think. But yeah, this is going to be something to edit, because it's a lot of me walking away from the camera to go find a plant. Thank you for watching, thank you for hanging out with me, and come back and check me out again soon. Bye.